Okay, so it's December of 2017 and it's been a while since I posted a video on YouTube. I want to thank all the people who have been subscribing. Sorry I haven't been getting back to you, but I've been very busy these last quite a while, and I just wanted to extend my apologies to you for all that. But I'd like to give a shout out to Mr. Marco Jefferson, who showed his selection of Elvis Christmas CDs. Well, I made a comment to his video that I would show mine. I would share mine. I'm going to do that right now. These are my Elvis Presley Christmas CDs, and I'd like to start off with the one that began it all. Elvis's Christmas album, the 1957 classic. I don't know how good the light is, but this is the album that started it all for him. It was released in December, actually no, it was released in October of 1957. And it's not, without a doubt, probably the best album he's ever released, and it's a classic album. It's an amazing piece of musical work. He wouldn't release another full-length Christmas album until 1971, and it's this one right here. Elvis Sings The Wonderful World of Christmas from 1971, and it has some extraordinary songs on it as well. Well, what I wanted to do is to share with you in this video my collection of Elvis Presley Christmas CDs that I have. And I happen to have Elvis Presley Christmas CDs from different parts of the world, and I wanted to share those with you right now. And this first one is called Christmas with Elvis, and it's a 2 CD set containing both albums at the same time. It was released to the Canadian market. I'm not sure of the year or when, but it was released to the country of Canada, and to put them together was quite an interesting decision. Next up is from Germany from 1984, a unique album just titled Merry Christmas, and it was the very first Elvis Christmas CD ever released ever at any time. Now, you might probably discover that as this video progresses, that several of the CDs have the same title even though they have different front cover artwork, like this one right here. It's called Merry Christmas from Elvis, and it's one of the many that have different artwork yet have very similar titles. This was released in 2006. It's called Elvis Christmas, and was released as part of a series of themed CDs that the company had issued in 2006, along with such other titles as inspirational, R&B, gospel, country, rock and roll, and live and movies. So, another fascinating disc. This is from a company we've called Razor and Ties, called Christmas with Elvis. Not a whole lot of information, but here's another title also called Christmas with Elvis. Well, it's interesting, Elvis loved the holiday season, as most of us do, so here's another one also called Christmas with Elvis. And you can see very carefully, this picture here of Elvis is a still from the 1968 film Speedway, and was superimposed over this holiday setting. Quite an interesting idea to do. This one's called The Christmas Collection, and quite an interesting cover here. That picture of Elvis looks like it was from the 1950s. I'm not really sure, but somewhere around the 50s. This one here is just called Elvis Presley Songs for Christmas. Not sure the company that issued this one. Now this one here was made exclusively for Hallmark stores. It's called, again, Christmas with Elvis. And it was made for the Hallmark company. See, that's a pretty good photograph. Incidentally, this photograph, this one right here, of Elvis was also used on the back cover of the best-selling album 30 #1 hits. This is a very good compilation of music. This is an interesting compilation. It's called Elvis Christmas Hits and Ballads, and it contains both seasonal and non-seasonal recordings on one CD. Here's a fascinating looking title. It's a Rock and Roll Christmas, and there's a great picture of Elvis from 1956, the year that he first broke onto the national music scene. Another title, Elvis, Christmas with Elvis, and this is a 2-disc set, and I'm not sure, it features Christmas songs on one. Actually, it features Christmas songs and also features some non-seasonal songs as well. And that's a pretty good photograph of Elvis from the mid-60s. Once again, Christmas with Elvis. This is an interesting title, Christmas Wishes. Christmas Wishes. That's a very interesting, very pretty cover. Here's another release with that same title, different cover, Christmas Wishes. It's very interesting how many different companies around the world could take these recordings and reissue them over and over and over again. This one's called The Christmas Hits and the Greatest Hits. And it features, of course, a combination of Christmas and non-seasonal recordings together. This is quite an interesting cover. Christmas with Elvis. And look very carefully at that cover. I do not know whose idea that was, but that is that's something, I'll tell you that for sure. This is a very interesting, charming looking cover. I Wish You a Merry Christmas. Very nicely done. This is a most unique one here. Christmas with Elvis, Elvis's Christmas album in 3D mono, and I've heard this, and I really can't tell the difference between this and the Duophonic stereo version. This one was released in 2001 as part of a gospel series to Christian bookstores, and it's called I'll Be Home for Christmas. Of course, it features Elvis's Christmas recordings on one CD. That's a unique title nonetheless. This one here, I have no idea about its origins. It's called Elvis Christmas Songs and Gospel Favorites, and I have no idea where it originated from or who created it, but it's a fascinating piece Christmas Piece, a 2 CD set. Features Christmas songs on one disc and gospel songs on the other. This is a European sampler of Christmas Piece. It features a few of the songs from that album on this sampler CD. Another title called Merry Christmas, Love Elvis. This is a budget release from years ago, Elvis's Christmas. And it's just basically a reissue of the 1970 budget version of Elvis's Christmas album that was put out on the RCA Camera label, just with a slightly different cover. Here's another variation of that title, Elvis's Christmas album, and this is from 1985, I believe. This is a Canadian CD release. It was imported to the US and sold pretty well. From 1982, Memories of Christmas. This is released in 1982 and it's got some good selections on it. This is from the year 2000. White Christmas, and it features all the Christmas songs together on one disc. Some of these CDs that I'm showing you actually feature all the Christmas recordings together on a single disc. Here's an interesting looking cover. Blue Christmas, and that's the name of one of Elvis's biggest Christmas recordings ever. One of his most popular, probably his most requested, most played on the radio every holiday season. This one's simply called Elvis Presley Christmas. That's a very nice looking picture of Elvis from the 1950s. Very nice indeed. Another title, Elvis Presley Christmas. That's quite an interesting looking cover, wouldn't you say? This was released in the, I think the 1990s. It was called Christmas Classics. It features about 10 different songs on it. All of them are well-known holiday favorites. This here is a fancy repackaging of the Elvis's Christmas album. It's called, once again, Christmas with Elvis Presley. You notice his picture does not appear anywhere on the cover of this disc. This next one is was sent in England only through a publication called the Daily Mail. Elvis Presley at Christmas. And those people were fortunate enough to receive this in the holiday season. I'm going to that's the first half of my Christmas CDs, and I'm going to present a part 2 here very shortly. Thank you.